Assalamualaikum student. Today we discuss about the lens law. Before discussing the lens law definition, we discuss some examples where we discuss the direction of induced current when the magnet or the coil is moved toward each other. Here we take the coil and this is the power magnet. This is the north pole of the magnet and this is the south pole of the magnet. When the n pole of the magnet is moved coil, toward the coil, then the coil become then the one end of the coil become north pole. So one the end become north pole, other side become the south pole. So the coil repel the magnet. So here coil repel the magnet when the magnet to move toward to this coil due to the one end of the coil become the north pole which repel the magnet. So here we write when the n pole of the magnet is moved toward the coil, end of the coil become north, which is denoted by n, north pole. So when the one end of the coil become north pole, so north or north they are repel each other. So here we write, so the coil repel the magnet. When the magnet is moved toward the coil, they induce EMF or induce current. Now we find the direction of the induced current, whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise. We find the direction of induced current by right hand grip rule. By right hand grip rule, here the thumb represent the direction of pole N and curved finger tell us the direction of current, that is I. In this case, we know the direction of the coil. One end become north pole and one end become south pole. So when the end become north pole, we know direction of north pole. So thumb in the direction of north pole. So curved finger show the direction of the current. So here we see that the current is moved in the coil in the clockwise direction. So here the current is moved in the clockwise direction. So current I is here in the clockwise direction by right hand grip rule. So here we can write direction of induced current will be in clockwise direction. Now we discuss this case when the magnet and the coil is moved away from each other. Here the coil is at rest position and we move the magnet and the magnet is moved away from the coil. Whereas this bar of the magnet is north pole and this is the south pole. So when the magnet is moved away from the coil, this is coil and this is magnet, then coil is want to increase the magnetic flux, so it attract it toward the coil. When it want to attract this magnet, since the one end of the become south pole, when this end of the coil becomes south pole, they will attract the magnet toward the coil. When they attract the magnet, then the number of flux in the coil is increased. They want to increase their coil, so they attract the magnet. So this end of the coil becomes south pole and this end of the coil become north pole. So here we write when the n pole of the magnet is moved away from the coil, the end of the coil become south pole. So when the one end of the coil becomes south pole, they attract the magnet. So here we write, so the coil attract the magnet. When the magnet is moved away from the coil, they induce an current in the coil. We find the direction of induced current in the coil by using right hand grip rule. Right hand grip rule. By right hand grip rule, the thumb represent the direction of pole, north pole, and the curved fingers show the direction of induced current. So by right hand grip rule, we can find the direction of induced current. If this is the south pole of the magnet, this is north pole, so thumb is in the direction of the north pole. So here the thumb is in the direction of the north pole. When the thumb is in the direction of the north pole, so our current flow in the anti-clockwise direction. So current direction is in anti-clockwise. So here we write direction of induced current will be anti-clockwise. Now we discuss the definition of the Lenz law. Lenz law's definition is basically tell about the direction of induced current The direction of the induced current is dependent upon the relative motion between the coil and the magnet. Relative motion between them. Whenever magnet is moved toward the coil, the induced current in the coil. So direction of the induced current can be defined by using the Lenz law. So here we write direction of induced current depend on the relative motion between magnetic field and coil. Now we discuss the statement of Lenz law. The direction of induced EMF or induced current in such a way that it opposes the change that it producing it. Today we discuss the Lenz law and law of conservation of energy. How Lenz law is related to the law of conservation of energy. First we discuss it, what is the law of conservation of energy. Law of conservation of energy says that energy convert from one form to another form cannot be created or cannot be destroyed. Now we discuss about the Lenz law. What is the Lenz law? Lenz law says that when the magnet move toward or away from the coil, then mechanical energy is transferred to electrical energy. That electrical energy is basically the induced current. So the total energy remain constant. So we can say that Lenz law work accordingly to law of conservation of energy.